aorta, obviously we're working from the right side of the heart like this, right? So we cannulate anywhere here, ascending. If you have a VS or AST, obviously you do by cable. If it's small PF4, you can just do a single. The first thing you have to do is to ligate and divide the PDA. Okay, so you usually tie, anyway, so he's doing something different, but we usually tie as far as you can.
Close to the aorta.
Oh, wait, yeah, you can cut this one. So that's a duct. Okay, why don't you go, no, that's okay, this is okay. And then,
Scissors.
then dissect the bed. So in terms of dissection, you just go anterior, right? And then the proximal arch, still anterior. And then go all the way down until you see the isthmus here. Okay. So that why we do it is that you have a recurrent here on the side, but here it's completely safe. So that's why we just go this plane all the way down here, right? And then do the neck vessel. Okay, go ahead. Wait, tie? No, that's okay. That's okay. Let's cut it. It won't bleed. Okay. So here, I usually oversew before I forget, because this one slips off quite often. So once you divide this, I usually get hockey stick. Yeah, and then ask assistant to hold this stump. Sometimes this rupture, but it doesn't matter because you're gonna circuit the wrist soon, and then pull up so that you can dissect the descending aorta. That's very difficult. Obviously, you have a recurrent nerve hugging here. So at this point, you want to switch to sternotomy scissors all the way. So, and I tend to use the mayfly to go down, medial to the recurrent nerve, and then spread. And for the real reconstruction, aortic arch reconstruction, you want to have to feel the spine. That's how you want to go deep. And if it's no good, you really want to feel the diaphragm. That's how far you want to go to dissect. And obviously, you're going to see 1, 2, 3 pairs of intercostals when you do that. And obviously, you're cooling. So what I usually do is this relatively simple biventricular repair arch is that to minimize the circuit arrest. So when you have like 20 degree or so, I usually tie the isthmus. At the end of, you can let go there. Let go, yeah. Thank you. So tie the isthmus almost at the junction to the duct here. You can grab here. Maybe. Oh, yeah. So the essence is this is going to be an end-to-side anastomosis, right? So we'll tie this.
It will be aortic arch advancement.
Yeah, we'll do advancement. Okay. Yeah. So at that point, flow down to 35 to 40 per kilo, and then use this aortic cannula as a integrated cerebral perfusion. And then I'll go ahead and cut this here. This is all ductal tissue, and also cut this. So this is still a duct. So and then you don't want to keep cutting like tiny bit. So you really want to cut like this.
Oblique?
No, not oblique. You don't need to. Okay, now this is, let's say this is clean, and then you're ready to go. So what I usually do is to get something here like this. So make sure you're not twisting, right? So this is how you want to sew to, like here. Sometimes I mark the toe so that I'm not going to twist. And then I put the carry clamp to this clamp so that it doesn't move, and then that's free up assistant left hand, right? Okay, so that's I'm ready, right? And you can oversaw it. I usually don't because that's really secure, but Glenn always oversaw. Anyway, so arrest the heart with a cardioplegia, and then now ready to circuit arrest. Now before you do this, make an incision, you have to make a decision whether or not it's going to be a patch or direct end to side, right? So how it's different is that if you want to do end to side, you really limit the incision to just anastomosis, right? If you do the patching, then you can go from here to there, right? So my decision is usually, well, there's a couple of things, right? So one, if this one has to come to here, right, almost to the ascending aorta, and then it feels like too much tension, right, here to descending aorta, because that compresses your LPA and the left bronchus, right? If it's too much, then you want to go here and do the patching. So that's one decision you have to make. The other thing is descending aortic size sometimes differ, right? So, and as you have to pull, what's going to happen is this has a round structure like this, but if you pull really hard, it's going to be like this, right? And then it looks big still, like in this dimension, but if you look at this, it's going to be really flattened.
It's flat.
Right? So if you think that's going to happen, then you're going to need a anterior patch to really, reshape this to the round shape. So, and then I tend to patch it because it's pretty easy that way. So let's do patching. So as I said, so let's talk about end to side without patching. So without patching, you really want to avoid this area because it's so hypoplastic. So you really have to go to here, right, to effectively enlarge. So you can see how short this aortic arch becomes, right? And then you sort of entrap the LPA and bronchus, so you have to be very careful. So here, for the patching, I usually go anterolateral, like that, not really a lateral. And so here you don't need to enlarge too much because you have a huge ascending aorta. So you need some landing zone. So we're just gonna go here.
Got some pots too if you want to use.
Excellent. Okay. Okay, now, so from anterolateral, and then if you go to the arch, you're pretty much on a lesser curvature, like that. And I try not to take out the pots, just kind of slide, and then cut all the way until you want to stop here. So you don't need to go all the way, because this is still within the range of end to side anastomosis, right? So that should be probably enough. Okay. And then if this part of the hypoplastic, you can always go down to the sinotubular junction, right?
Yeah.
But you don't want to do that here. Okay, here, so for the as I said, most of the time you don't need to make an oblique incision, but because this is pretty stiff, I'll just, so let's see. Yeah, just cut a little bit. Usually you don't need to. This tissue is flexible enough to become sort of naturally oblique. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, so here, inside out, and outside in at the heel. Yeah, thanks. There you go. That's more like it.
You can blame the fellow.
Yeah.
Not that as a...
All of us.
So yeah, no one notices for several stitches. So
Actually, no one noticed except you.
No one wanted to say you're doing something wrong or something. That's why.
all right.
Career suicide.
Okay, this one. Maybe it's, yeah. Okay. Can you see it still?
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the key of neonatal operation is that you don't want to grab too close to the target, because you can't really see it with the pickups, right? So I'm grabbing a bit far and try to move along like that. Okay, keep going. Okay, and then here comes the second point. So because we committed for the patching, right, I usually go a bit far to the proximal aortic arch, or even part of the ascending aorta, until this one becomes flat, right? So this is the opposite concept when you have a non-patch technique, right? Because you have limited incision so that you can, keep this round shape. This is the opposite. You want to have a wider connection. So see how it's becoming little flat.
Yeah.
So that's when I stop it. Okay. So by the time you're almost, yeah, I had to say I cut a little too much distally.
Doesn't it also twist the descending aorta? The flatter you make it. Because you make it more.
No, because I don't think you're gonna twist it, but you really have to patch and enlarge it, though. Okay, so that's pretty good there. And then I'm just gonna go to the other side. So the first stitch is inside out on the arch, right at the heel. There we go. Usually you have a subclavian around here, right? So this is very unusual configuration. Okay, now. Okay, so and then my aim is until we cut down to the descending. So I'll show you in a minute. That's usually kind of in the middle of the anterior wall. I'll stop here. Okay. Now, so you see this, yeah, and then scissors, and then we'll cut into here, just like you do the interrupted aortic arch. Should be, you know. Right, and then I'll cut this. And this one probably come. Okay, so that should be good. So you see how you have to patch from here to there, right? So that's pretty standard. So, and in terms of patch shape, they have a that's how I think. So so this corner, right? So I usually cut it like this, and then you can adjust later. So, and then from here to there, about this. Right, so, and then goes like this. So that's the only dimension. And this fit to this dimension. Like that. Eventually it's going to be something more straight, but you want to have a choice to. Okay. So just gonna yeah, something like that. So that's the only thing I decide. No, so that's should be enough. Something like that, right?
Like a half.
And you can two stitches from this. Can you see it?
Yep.
2 stitches from the toe. That. Back hand here. And this is almost toe stitch. Okay, yeah, okay, go down there. Good. So this may be a little too wide, but I'm just gonna sew it to there. And then it's gonna go ahead and sew to here and then tie to the original stitch. This is a little too wide, isn't it? Just a little bit. So this is very similar to what we do for the interrupted aortic arch. So this is actually a good kind of pre-practice, because we're gonna have interrupted aortic arch soon, right?
Yeah.
A very similar concept as node as well. Right? So the toe stitch and go up to here. And I really don't want to come up this superior aspect too much, because that's where you can adjust the bulging or patch shape towards the end of reconstruction. So you
Stitches are inside, no?
shouldn't be. Is it?
What?
Okay, you can cut
The short one.
short one. Okay, you can cut this one. Yeah. Give it that. Shut. So obviously your exposure is not this good, right? So usually we're down in the hole. So
You have two fellows here helping you as well.
that's right. Okay. And in my experience, this first few stitches, it bleeds a lot. So make sure you're not advancing too much there. TCO, exactly. Don't rely on the glue. Okay.
Do you think it will bleed a lot wide and do it in 2 layers? I mean, circa less time. But
Yeah. It's too much.
Too much work.
Okay, so I misjudged quite a bit here, right? So usually this corner has to come here. Hopefully that was still okay. Okay. Yeah, this is like, how can we? Okay. Okay, give it this one. So, sorry. Okay, at this point I take this one out and then let it in a very natural position. And let's see. And I'll just try to be in a very natural position and then see what happens. Yeah, so clearly I didn't match the corner, but it still works. So I just, kind of make it in as natural as possible. Right, and then I have to cut it here. Okay. See. Yeah, so as I said, usually this corner stitch has to match to there. Okay, that's still okay now. It's gonna bleed for sure. So this corner that's 2 sutures meet, if you think it's gonna bleed, you can put a additional stitch there just to reinforce. Yeah. I don't like this patch shape. Okay. Okay, now here comes to the end of proximal incision, and what I frequently do, especially in the interrupted aortic arch, is that so cut back here just a little bit to make it a little bigger. See it? Oh, it has to be at the edge, so that it opens this way, right? Okay, so now let's see, and this patch gonna be something like this. I can pull this down. Yeah, so this is how it sits, right? And then scissor. Right. So okay, this is the end. You can go ahead and
It's just there. I will hold the descending aorta.
let's go ahead and cut, and then we can keep sewing until your corner is done. Here, if I can, I advance on the patch a little bit, so that gives you a bulging. Okay. So now we'll just go around the corner. Okay, so that's good. Now again, at this point I take out the suction there and then see how this one sits. So something like this, and then let the patch in the natural position, right? So something like this, and then see how. So this dimension is good, but probably has to cut here and cut there. See how it's kind of nicely bulges. So that's how you can decide, because if you pull here, so you're going to be very flat patch, right? Whereas if you push it like that, you're going to have nice bulging. So that's quite good here. And can so let's see, it's still, yeah, that's good. So this one is redundant here. Okay, then we can set so this anterior or superior suture line, by definition, you're gonna have a longer patch suture line compared to the aorta, right? Because that's a bulging part. Yeah. So you really have to go like a 2:1 or sometimes 3:1 ratio on the patch, and then come back on the native. Otherwise, you're gonna have lots of redundancy to make up towards the end. So I'm going and then going back on the native. So really have to make up. Otherwise, it's gonna be a kink somewhere if it's not proportional. Oops. Yeah.
I mean, taking more on the patch.
Yeah.
Yeah, take bigger bite in the patch, smaller bite in the
And
aorta.
always look at it. Right? Here. Come back. It's pretty nice. You can see it's three-dimensional rather than it just you know, a flat patch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, coming back. This is how you make the bulging on the tetralogy as well, on the right side. Okay, this bottom part is pretty much flat, right? It's a one-to-one advancement. Okay. There.
But does it cause more bleeding or no? When we do 2 to 1 or 2
Of
to
course.
1?
So that's your professional part, right? So to 2 to 1 without causing bleeding. Okay. See now it's matching up. Okay. Yeah, I'm quite happy with the patch shape now. It's better than I thought. Okay, so we're almost matched, so then just go back to 1 to 1. Okay, so that should be enough. Let's go advance there. So something like that. So let's review this. So we're gonna have. So this one's probably I went too much. You don't need to go that much. But the essence is it cut into there, cut into the ascending a little bit, then saw the back wall, and then come around this heel. And cut into the descending a little bit, then saw this patch. So as I said, you know, I made a mistake to make this right angle part a bit too far away, because that has to be matched to here, but turned out to be okay.